Just like samosas, the financial products are wrapped with structures from outside and with technology and new business model inside the samosa. Today we have Jessica, a partner at the Openspace Ventures. Welcome to the show, Jessica.
We've been operating for about 10 years now, and Southeast Asia has been our focus from day one. It continues to be our sole focus today, and it's called Openspace because we really wanted the company name to kind of encompass the ethos of how we operate, how we operate as a team, but also how we work with founders in the broader ecosystem as well. We like to believe that we are open to new ideas, we're open to collaboration, so that's why it's called Openspace. Singapore has played a very, very important role in terms of the technology ecosystem across Southeast Asia as a whole. For many of the startups that we have invested in, many of the startups that we continue to evaluate, they tend to be headquartered in Singapore, right? A lot of the initial technology, product market fit is developed in Singapore. A lot of technology sometimes also built out of Singapore. And then basically exported across Southeast Asia. Right? That's become quite a common practice across the region. But I think what's also become a really important part of the ecosystem as well too is a lot of the talent flow that has come from other parts of the world has come specifically to Singapore. We see some pockets in places like Indonesia and Thailand as well too, but a lot of the talent flow and even capital flow that we've seen in particular over the last 3 or 4 years has come to Singapore. FinTech is approximately 30 to 40% of our portfolio. Today.
I see.
And I think that is a function of the market maturity.
I see.
All right, Southeast Asia, the vast majority of the markets here are developing. And so if you think about what FinTech actually is, it's sort of akin to infrastructure.
Indeed.
Right? And so you have to have that before you can start to build anything on top of that.
Interesting to say that because that whole reframing that FinTech is powering the digital infrastructure, hence the rapid growth in Southeast Asia on the digital economy side, it is somehow placed into the investment thesis you have.
So I think that dynamic is very specific to where we are in the current market cycle.
I see.
Because if you look at 4 years ago, it was not like that. Actually, it was very risk on.
I see.
And perhaps a little bit too risk on.
I see.
If I'm being honest, right? That's where you had a lot of capital come into highly competitive spaces where unit economics oftentimes were very questionable and oftentimes at very high valuations, right? That was a reflection of the broader market environment where capital was relatively cheap, right? Interest rate environment was low. Now that capital is scarce, and the bar is higher, I think I wouldn't call it necessarily more PE-like, but there's a lot more pressure for founders to become profitable sooner, to be able to demonstrate that you actually have a path to a business that can be built in a more sort of capital efficient and viable way. I'm looking for founders who demonstrate that they have a real solid grasp on the market that they're trying to attack, right?
That's
understanding all of the dynamics, whether that's your end consumer, regulation, your competitive environment, right? Do you have a very, very firm grasp of the actual market that you're attacking? Do you have a solid plan, almost like a bulletproof plan? I mean, no plan is bulletproof, but can you
reasonable good plan?
Yeah. When I ask you questions, trying to poke holes in your thesis, do you have, a good way to sort of back it up, right? Those are some of the key attributes. The other really key element too is do you have the fortitude? Right? It's not easy to be a founder. There's going to be many ups and downs.
I think fortitude is a big part of the.
Some founders are really just good time founders, but are you the kind that can grind through difficult situations? I mean, don't lie.
Okay.
That's pretty, so maybe a different way to frame this, right? I think people overuse the word elevator pitch.
Okay.
But I mean, there's some merit to it, right? If you cannot explain to me in like 2 minutes, basically, what problem you're trying to solve and how you're trying to attack it, if you can't explain it to me in 2 minutes and I can't understand it in 2 minutes, then there's probably a problem with that thesis.
I see.
Right.
So they should not lie, and they should be able to explain in a couple of minutes what they're trying to do.
Exactly, right? Because if you have to spend a lot of time explaining, it probably means that you're solving a problem that isn't actually a problem, or your solution isn't actually a solution.
Okay. Now, don't lie. Do it in 2 minutes. Okay. Thank you, Jessica. Thanks for joining us.